We're live. Welcome to another live stream. Lance here with Greg as usual, here to answer all your HR related questions. Today we've got a question from Ali Miro. He's from Tanzania. And Ali asked us the question, how can I overcome toxic employees? And then as part of this we actually asked for some more information. Yeah. So we said to Ali, tell me a bit more. And he said they're industry workers, very radical. Some of them belong to trade unions. For them, being a trade union representative is like a safety valve to misbehave and not comply to company rules. I'm coming from the beverage industry. We have around 30,000 employees.
Yeah, cool. And Ali, I could really relate to what you're talking about with shop steward representations, because I was recently doing a project with a manufacturing company, and as I was walking onto the shop floor, the facility manager said, just be careful of that guy over there. He's a shop steward. He's giving me all sorts of grief. And I said, well, actually, don't tell me that, because I don't want to be biased. Like, I just want to see the person who they are. I don't want to go in there with a pre-mindset, just in case I'm going to sort of project that value onto him. And so I tried to walk in there with as much unconscious bias as possible. So I'll tell you the end result right at the end, to how I managed to build a good relationship with that difficult shop steward in just a second. But fundamentally, what I actually think about is people like to be in a position of I'm okay, you're okay. So if we think about that, it's all about how can I have a high regard for self, but also too, how can I create environments where people have a high regard for others? So when I do think about that I'm okay, you're okay position, then I'm thinking, well, what can I do to maintain that? Because if I don't maintain that, then people are going to start playing games, which is being toxic. So often, Ali, you might find that people start to feel victimized. And there's a thing by Eric Byrne with transactional analysis that says, if people feel victimized, they're actually going to feel that they're being persecuted. And they might actually feel that they're being persecuted because they might effectively or ineffectively think that they're being treated fairly or unfairly. But what happens when people move into this victim triangle, they start to look for the savior in order to push against you. So often the savior is either from other people, they try and get tribes together,
trade unions,
trying to get the trade unions involved, and then next thing there's this whole sort of storming thing. And even from a Maslow's hierarchy of needs perspective, is that when somebody has a higher level by way of just self-satisfaction, I'm okay, you're okay, because I respect you and you respect me. But if people's satisfaction levels are not being met, or if people's security needs aren't being met, they're going to move out of that I'm okay, you're okay into, hey, I'm okay, but you're not okay. They start this victim triangle, and then that's when the games start to play. And Eric Byrne identifies that there's about 10 games. But so we just got to watch out for that. So my key thing is about how do you maintain respect and rapport with people. So at least that's there. A bit of work from David Rock. He identifies that the 5 things that people value in order to be respected and for their own self-esteem to be maintained is maybe acknowledging their status, either within the community or what their position is in the workplace, or even how long they've been with the organization. But also too, maybe how they perceived by people in the workplace. So I think if you can work with somebody to acknowledge what their status is from a level of respect, that keeps them in the I'm okay position. The other thing as well is people like to have certainty. They also like to have freedom or autonomy, so that when people feel that their decisions are being taken away from them, there's a high chance they're going to push back with power and become oppositional. So it's about how do you create environments where people can feel autonomy. The other aspect out of that is relatedness, that if you don't have the relationship with somebody, then why should they support you? So again, it's about the strategy of how do you build the relationships. And the last part of this David Rock model is actually around fairness. And the key thing about fairness is that if people feel that they've been fairly treated, or at least heard or respected, and again, we need to think about what sort of environments can we create in order to keep people in the I'm okay, you're okay position for all of that. And so I think fundamentally that's it. So with that shop steward that I met, I was very conscious about how can he have respect for me, but also too, how can I develop respect for him to keep him in the I'm okay, you're okay position. and then at least we have the two parties who are there to at least able to talk and to listen. Because people only become toxic when they start to feel insecure or they actually feel threatened. And they're not always toxic. It could be the fact that when they're liaising with their family or when they're liaising with their friends, they're probably very amiable and easygoing. So I think it's about how do you build that relationship. Ron McMillan wrote a book called Crucial Conversations. And then essentially what Ron McMillan identified with crucial conversations is that 90% of the time when our communications is regular and routine, we actually do a good job. But it's the times that we move into crucial conversations, which is about 10% of the time, that we have the greatest impact. And it's actually when we're at our most worst. So by way of crucial conversations, we know that we're moving into a crucial conversation if something is maybe high emotions, or maybe there's high stakes, or it could be the fact that there's opposing opinions. So if we know that we're going to be moving into a conversation that is high emotions, high stakes, and high opinions, then the best thing that I can actually do is to maintain my emotional intelligence. The best thing that I can do is to think, okay, what can I do to not only keep my regard for self up, but also the regard for the other person up, to keep them in the I'm okay, you're okay position. So Ron McMillan says, if you know that you're moving into this crucial conversation, you need to stop. And STOP is a acronym. So STOP is like stop, pause, breathe. The T is to think. So the think is, well, what's happening in their world and what's happening in my world, because the story that I'm seeing may not be the same story that they're actually telling. So that the stopping and the thinking is about, okay, what are they saying? What are they not saying? But also too, what is their body language saying for all of that? The O is about what options do I have? And the best options is about collaboration. It's like, how do you build safe collaborative environments? And the P is around proceed with that. So it's about stop, it's about thinking, it's about what options do I have, and then it's about proceeding with the best options. So one of the best options that you have is to reach into your toolbox box and to think about the acronym of TIPS, which is focus on a specific topic. With that, get that person involved in a collaborative conversation, so it keeps them in the I'm okay, you're okay. From there, problem solve collaboratively with them, and then start to put in place initiatives so that you can sustain the agreed outcomes for all of those. So I think that's really important. Now, to go back to my friend, in this manufacturing environment that is the difficult shop steward. Essentially what I discovered was he was a new arrival from Egypt into Australia. And so I'd only just finished a project recently in Egypt, actually in Dubai, Egypt via Dubai, but back to Australia. And he goes, I bet you can't guess which country I'm from. And I said, oh, I think you're from Egypt. And he goes, how do you know that? I said, oh, because my ear is tuned into that. And also too, I said, as a matter of fact, I've actually got some Egyptian newspapers in the car. Just let me go and get those, because I have a friend that's Egyptian. And so with my difficult shop steward person, the thing that I focused on was how can I build connection and rapport, but how can I actually start to build relationship with that person? So simple words such as hello and thank you, as in assalamu alaikum and shukran, like really simple Arabic terms that he could relate to. He could see that we're on the same page. So with that, he had a high regard for me, and I had a high regard for him, and he wasn't difficult at all. He was like non-toxic. So much that our relationship was built that the following week when I was out in this manufacturing environment, he had actually brought me in something that his family had actually baked to give to me, to take back to my family. So I think, this whole thing about people being toxic, I think it's about, what can I do that's within my control to build a relationship, to respect that person so that they can see that we're all on the same page. So just to wrap up, one other final funny story, and this came out of Africa actually. So I was doing some work with a German company. This is a number of years ago. They had a difficult shop steward that I was actually told about. And once again, I said, don't tell me about this difficult shop steward, because I don't want to go in there with that preset mindset. But I just happened to be in the CEO's office, and the shop steward was there saying, Mr. CEO, we have a problem. And I remember the CEO looking at this person directly across the eye. He goes, no, we have no problem. He goes, yes, we have a problem, says the shop steward. And the CEO says, no, we don't have a problem. It's, I pay you and you do your job. We don't have any problem here. And the interesting thing with that was, for some reason, that just built an element of respect. But this person that was the difficult shop steward who was on the training program for 5 days, by the end of the 5 days, he'd actually just had a total turnaround. And going back to that model about scarf and the status, it turned out that he was a son of one of the elders. And in Africa, there's still this whole tribalism of respect. So essentially, he just wanted to be respected and involved. And so by me acknowledging that and identifying that, he wasn't a problem. He wasn't a problem. So my learning out of that is that if I can just create environments where there's high levels of respect for them, but also too for myself, and if I can build environments that are collaborative, those people that could potentially be toxic, they just settle down. And essentially when people are toxic, essentially all they're saying is, I want to work here, I like working here, but I just need to be heard. So can you please just give me that time and space just to hear my concerns? And the big thing that I found in Africa, and this is a generalization, but I found that fairness is hypersensitive, is a really high value across most of Africa when I've conducted programs over there. That there's this whole thing about fairness and equity that also links into performance management systems. Everybody's wanting a fair and formal process by way of communication. So Ali, that's my insights. I don't know if there's some clues there, but there's so many models in that. There's the Eric Berne model of I'm okay, you're okay. There's a human synergistics model, just looking at using satisfaction constructive styles. We've had a look at crucial conversations with Ron McMillan, and just a few other examples. So maybe I should put some links or something like that?
Yeah, I think we'll give you some links, and we'll give you some breakdown of the acronyms and all that sort of stuff in the notes below.
Cool. Okay, so Ali, reach out if you have any more questions. I'd love to know more about your business. I've actually done work within the food and beverage manufacturing sector overall, so I do understand some of the challenges that you have. But if you do want to reach out, just feel free to do that, and I'm more than happy to, just have a conversation and guide you through this. So, is there anything else we need to?
I think we just encourage the group to keep sharing your thoughts and keep sharing your ideas. People are sharing insights on how they're working with teams, or they're asking questions. So continue to do that, and as usual, we'll do our weekly live streams so we can just keep building the community that we're doing.
Cool. Thanks a lot. We'll see you again. See ya.
Missed it.
Okay, bye.